What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hard Count, a little Wednesday afternoon edition. All right, changing some things up. Busy yesterday. CJ, we might just have to switch the show to Wednesdays if we're being honest with each other. But
It's cool with me.
hey, it's fine with me. Listen, I'm easy to work around. So yeah, but welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. CJ, how's my guy doing?
Sir, I'm doing well. Just got in not too long ago. It's relaxing. Get ready. I text. The reason why, honestly, it's at 5 today is because I hit up Connie and I was like, yo, these games start at like 7, and it's the first week of the NBA season. I gotta lock in, and so next game is at 7. I gotta be fully invested. So,
hey, listen, it's fine with me.
So we put the time to 5 today. We'll see if that can be something that can be the norm. Obviously, that's something that Connie and I are going to talk about soon. But yeah, my week was good. Patriots got a shocking win, and didn't see that one coming. Yeah, didn't see that one coming. But it's good vibes. How about you, man?
Just chilling, vibing, doing my thing, had a couple. Did the podcast with Chris yesterday. He had a couple interviews and stuff like that. Recorded a full episode, went over the picks, everything of that nature. So just grinding that away, and hey, now we're here. Now we are here. So listen, everybody, let's not waste any more time, all right? Because we got to get into week 7 of the NFL, and listen, there were some upsets. There were some things that we just didn't expect to happen. Also for the betting people out there, because I was watching the Pat McAfee show, as I do per usual, and they had a tweet up. I can't remember by who it was by, but there were, I believe, 9 games where 70% of the money was on one team. 8 of them lost.
Huh. Yeah, I know. Our team was one of those teams.
So I mean, there people. Nobody knows what's going on right now. Like I said, 80% of the money was on 9 different teams, and 8 of those teams lost. And of course, the one team that did win was the Seahawks. They covered their 8.5 spread up against the Cardinals. But all right, let's get into everything. We got the CJ. Are you pulling anything up, or am I just going down the?
No, yep. I got the link right now.
Say less.
Sure.
I always knew that we were prepared. Never worried. What do we got? Jags and the Saints. We kicked it off Thursday Night Football. The Jags got that 31-24 victory over the Saints. Looked like it was going to be a blowout. Going into halftime, especially. Saints, came out in the second half. Obviously, made it a much more competitive game than what we thought it was going to be. And, turn it into something. Jags are on a little bit of a streak here. I believe that is 3 in a row now. They won the 2 games in London. They end up winning this game on Thursday night. Hey, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. This is kind of the Jags that I expected. And, they did this against a good Saints defense. We've talked about it a few times that we feel like the Saints are kind of an underrated team. Well, maybe not team, but underrated defense, I should say. We talk about the Ravens and you talk about Eagles and 49ers, stuff like that. I never really felt like the Saints got their love, but they certainly are on this show at least. And the Jags went out and did their thing against them. Now 5-2 on the season, obviously atop of the AFC South.
Yes.
Which I don't know why. Whenever I think South, it always just like NFC comes to my mind. I never think the AFC for some unknown reason. But Trevor Lawrence played well in this game. Not Marvin Jones. Who am I? The guy from the Cardinals that came over
for Jacksonville.
Yeah, I can't.
Christian Kirk. Yeah,
Christian Kirk. There we go. Christian Kirk with the unbelievable game. Now, did Calvin Ridley have an unbelievable game? No, of course not. Because I started him in fantasy this week. CJ, one of the worst fantasy performances I've ever had this week, by the way. I put in my ESPN league, I believe I put up 61.5. I was projected 130. It was just not. It was simply just not a fun time. But hey, you move on. You try to get better. Um, but yeah, I think the only thing with this Jags team that has surprised me, and I'm not even saying it because I just went in that little thing about fantasy, is Calvin Ridley. Like I thought Calvin Ridley was going to go crazy this year. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kirk has proved himself to be worth that contract. Everybody kind of clowned the Jaguars when they gave him that contract. Can't believe you do that. He's not worth this, whatever, whatever. And he's certainly proved himself that he is worth that contract. I just thought that Calvin Ridley was going to come in. Obviously, we know he's an unbelievable route runner from his time in college, uh, even to the Falcons. He just an unbelievable route runner. I thought he was going to be, big time in this offense, and it just kind of hasn't worked out that way yet. Listen, they're winning games. They're 5-2, so you can't really complain. I just thought that they would be more effective with him, and then with the Saints, this is I'm a little disappointed in them. Now, obviously, I still think that they can pull out the division because it's certainly nothing special. We know that the Bucks aren't going to be anything good. We know that the Panthers are obviously awful, and we don't expect the Falcons to do anything. So I still think the Saints have the best chance to win that division. But home field, I was definitely expecting a little bit more. You always hear about the crowd at the Dome and everything of that nature, and well, honestly, they didn't really have a chance to get into the game until late. And then, when they did have that chance, they did get into it. But just, more pedestrian stuff from Derek Carr, certainly nothing special. A lower end quarterback. I thought that he was going to help not put the Saints over the top as far as a Super Bowl team, but just make them better than they were last year. Really has not happened clearly. And we'll see what, they turn into going forward. I think they're still going to win this division, but Jags look good. Saints, and we go from there.
They had this game. Foster Marneau, he dropped that pass wide open.
True.
Listen, I know he's gone through a lot in his life in the offseason and everything, but you got to make that play. You got to make that play wide open in the end zone. So it's a gimme right in your hands. But like you said, it's a tough loss, but it's not to where it's that bad because the division isn't as competitive. So they can definitely make it back and try to get some wins and still win the division. Jacksonville's 4 in a row. I was watching Doug Peterson's post-game speech with the team. 4 wins in 19 days. So, I mean, that's locked in. That's locked in. That's just finding a way every single week. 2 games in London, as we know, and then 1 game on the road. And then obviously this game was in New Orleans, hostile environment, as you talked about. So they're battling. They're doing exactly what I expect and what a lot of people expect. I mean, they're supposed to be the premier team in this division. They have the best quarterback in this division. And the team is well-rounded. The defense has played solid really up until that late few minutes in this game against the Saints, but the defense has been pretty good. I would like to see Ridley and T-Law, start to get it going, but there's still a lot of football left. We got about 16 weeks left before things really get going. So I think definitely as the weeks go on, the chemistry will start to come together. We saw a little bit of it early in the season, and it's kind of drifted off, as you talked about. But there's time, and there's also other weapons. I mean, you don't just have to go to Calvin Ridley. I know for fantasy reasons.
Oh, of course,
fantasy reasons. The fantasy.
That's my main gripe.
Yeah, if you're a fantasy guy, I could see why you're upset. And then you drafted him expecting a really good season, but just from their perspective, they got Kirk, Ingram. ETN can catch the ball out the backfield. So
I believe it's 3 weeks in a row for ETN with 2+ touchdowns or something of that nature.
And that's been a great formula. It's been a great formula, balanced football. You just don't want, even though he's a young quarterback and we think he's special and he's going to be really good down the road and for years to come, you don't want to just put everything on his plate right now. You still want to have a balanced game, and he has obviously great rapport with ETN during their time in Clemson. So that's a great backfield. I think they have another running back there. I'm blanking on his name. They've done a really good job.
Tank Bigsby?
Tank Bigsby, yeah. They've done a solid job. They've done a solid job collectively. And it's just a good win on the road. And I mean, listen, Doug Peterson, we won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. Like, let's not forget how good of a coach this guy is. Like, this
I mean, I
isn't
like
just
to forget that Super Bowl, but
yeah, yeah. You know, we we'd like to forget that Super Bowl for selfish reasons, but he got it done and put up what 40 in that game,
yeah, I
if I'm
think
not mistaken.
41.
41 in the game, yeah, 41 in that game. So this guy knows how to coach. And this is a perfect scenario. And as soon as he got to the team, we talked about this after the debacle of who they hired previously. We knew that we felt like it was going to be a great fit, and they're just living up to the bill. So great win for Jacksonville and for the Saints. You know, it's a tough loss because of how it ended and how close it was, and how they really obviously could have tied it up and took it into OT. But you still can't completely be out of it to where you think obviously the season's not over. You're still 3-4. You could get to 500 and make things happen.
Absolutely. All right, we move on to. I mean,
Perfection.
this was. I mean, you tweeted it out on the Hard Count X over there. Make sure you go follow at the Hard Count _. That was, first of all, just completely unexpected for me. Obviously, I think I picked the Lions in this game. They were just listen. I think they had won four games in a row or something of that nature. Maybe, yeah, I think it was 4 games in a row they had won. They had just been playing unbelievable football. They hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher. The defense was playing well. Obviously, we knew that the offense was humming with St. Brown, and Laporta's been good. We saw the block that Reynolds gave. The run game was great with David Montgomery. Obviously, he was out in this one, and Gibbs stepped up. Played well, by the way. But, I mean, this was just an absolute slaughter from the very start. I mean, the Ravens go down, score on the first drive. I believe the Lions started with 3 and outs. I think at one point the Ravens had like 20-something plays, and the Ravens had 3. So, I mean, it was just that they had absolutely zero answers on defense in this one. And listen, a lot of it is because of Lamar. Obviously, he was 21 of 27 in this game, 357 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gus Edwards, 14 carries, 64 yards, a touchdown. Lamar had his 9 carries, 36 yards, and a touchdown, so 4 total on the day for him. And honestly, it's not even about the rushing stats that much. It's just about the fact of how he extends plays. I mean, that one touchdown, I believe it was the first touchdown he threw to Mark Andrews in the back of the end zone. I think it was on either the opening drive or the second drive. Looks like the Lions have him sacked. There's 3 people around him, and he escapes the pocket, about to throw it, makes somebody miss with a little move, then throws the ball into the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Aguilar.
Shocking. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. He actually caught something. But, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like, I'm watching shows today, and, they're even talking about it. Like, sometimes you go into the defensive meeting room, and you're like, what the hell were we doing? Blah, blah, blah. I was watching J.J. Watt on the McAfee show. He was saying, I'm not going to lie, you go in the defensive meeting room on that when the coaches look at you and say, that guy gets paid too. Like, sometimes you do things right, and the other person just makes a play.
Right.
Like, that is just a situation where they make the play. And I think the threat of the run game and the escapability really helps them, obviously, too, because I believe Lamar had like 255 yards passing on play action in this game. So obviously, with the ability to run, his ability to run, you start doing play action, you have to move the defense up. You don't really have a choice. And then, you bring motions involved, and you had the play where it looks like it's going to be a QB draw, to the right side. The whole line shifts right, and then you sneak Mark Andrews out for a big gain with the play action pass, just things of that nature. Like, this is literally a perfect game by the Ravens. Like, if this is baseball, they 27 up, 27 down.
Right.
Like, that is the perfect game for the Ravens. And I mean, listen, for the Lions, you just ran into a buzzsaw. This is, probably their worst game. Actually, not probably. This is their worst game of the season. The offense couldn't get going. Like I said, I believe they started on 3 and outs. Defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So it was just an absolute bludgeoning from, first whistle to the last whistle of the game. Jared Goff, 33 of 53. You never want to throw that many times, obviously, but you have to. 284 through an interception. St. Brown still did his thing, 13 catches, 102 yards. Gibbs had a solid game, 11 carries, 68 yards and a touchdown. But I believe he also had he had 9 catches as well, 58 yards. So, over 100 total yards. You like to see that. They drafted him, I believe it was 13th overall for a reason. And you could see the burst, I'll tell you. He caught a screen pass, and he turned upfield, gone. Just gone. So good on him. And listen, I thought the Lions would win. So obviously, even if they lost, it would have been a little upsetting to me. But this was just not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this was a beatdown, and this was the best game for the Ravens and the worst game for the Lions. I mean, that's probably the best way to put it for this game. Just the offense was really clicking on all cylinders for Baltimore. Lamar excelling in the pocket. The run game was on. The receivers are catching passes, and that's really what we were looking at. And man, this is a narrative that I've been talking about with Lamar, and not even Lamar, but just for the Ravens and Lamar too. When people critique him and they view him a certain way as to his counterparts in the league, I'm like, just look at the weapons that he doesn't have and look at the weapons that his colleagues have. Now that narrative is gone as long as they continue to be consistent and catch the football when the ball is in front of them, because they do have a lot of weapons on this team now. I mean, with Zay Flowers, Odell had 7 targets, I believe 5 catches in this game. We know what Mark Andrews brings to the table, top 3 tight end in the world. And what his ability to, just yards after catch, red zone magnet. I mean, he's just so elite in the red zone, finds ways to get open. Him and Lamar have great chemistry. It's just like Mahomes and Kelsey. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you can bank on a touchdown when they get to that area with 89 and 8. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I mean, I want to see Lamar excel. He looks really good in the pocket, playing well there. The play that you talked about, when he rolled around, I think he had like 10 seconds to
I
make
think it was like
play.
9.8.
Yeah, exactly. It was close, and he was able to make that play. That's just Lamar, man. That's what he does, and I just feel like we need to see this. I mean, maybe not to this level not to this level. I mean, it was really just a perfect game.
I was going to say, I don't even think it's not even fair to say he needs to play this level, because if he does, I mean, he might have the greatest quarterback season of all time. I mean, it was literally a perfect game.
But it's just like, what's stopping? I mean, it's just like, what's stopping? I mean, he's already had one of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time when he won MVP. So it's like, why? He could duplicate that. He could definitely duplicate that. And now with the weapons that he has, man, I'm just excited to see this offense. Todd Monken did a really good job, offensive coordinator for Baltimore, calling up some plays. That the option that they're able to do with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, you just pick your poison. Just pick your poison. And him rolling out, they think he's about to run, and then Andrews flattens out, gets behind the defense. You can't stop that. You can't stop that. And, I just want to just see consistency. Even Lamar said it at the post game interview when they asked him questions. He was just like, you just need to see this offense be more consistent going forward. They have the talent, they have the ability. And for Detroit, this is one game. Every top team has had these type of games. I mean, not to the level as Detroit, not to the level of this game in terms of how much they lost by. But a game we're like, wow, it's a disappointing loss. We saw last week with the Eagles and the Jets and the 49ers and the Browns. We've seen these type of games that we saw with Baltimore and Steelers, but the way Steelers have been playing, is that really that bad of a loss? So we'll find out.
They also lost to the Colts too, right? That was just kind of
that loss to the Colts. Yes, that loss to the Colts too. Those were the 2 L's. Yeah, that one is definitely more disappointing than the Steelers one.
Well, the Colts are I think it's the Colts. Actually, no, I know it's the Colts. I don't know the exact number. Is the only team to put up like 21 in every game so far this season.
Wow.
which is very strange to think of. But hey,
It probably just shows how well that offense could be down the road. But for Detroit, is listen, man. When you go up against elite teams like the Ravens are 16-1 against NFC teams. That's such a crazy stat. Lamar gets his 50th dub in the NFL. What do we really? Sky's elite, guys. Like the narrative that these people are trying to run with. I know he has one playoff win. I get it. I know he's been hurt the last 2 years. That's fair. I mean, you can't really defend that. I mean, if you're not playing and you're not playing well when it's time, you can't defend those type of things. But for Detroit, like who's Jared Goff? Like when playoff time comes around, he's gonna have to step up. He's gonna have to play better than the perfect game, the perfect situation. The defense is on point, the run game. Like they're gonna need you to be Superman and key points in games, but especially in the playoffs.
I feel like we've kind of like lessened the importance on home field advantage in the past few years and everything of that nature. Like in all sports, not just the NFL. I think the Lions are the one team that desperately need it because,
Sure.
like, they not only would you, I think, would first of all because that crowd in Detroit after being awful for all these years, a home playoff game, they would be absolutely insane. I'd like to see it, but Jared Goff is a lot better in that when he's at home than on the road. I mean, he's been playing well on the road. Like I don't mean that as like a he can't win a road game or anything of that nature, of course, but I think if they got a home field, they would be, very, very happy with themselves.
But the likelihood of that is very slim with the way Philadelphia is playing, and I do feel like San Fran will get back on the right track when Debo comes back.
You saw today that all of a sudden Purdy's in the concussion protocol.
Here we go again.
That is Sam Darnold's lining up to start. I mean, hey, we're gonna see all those people that were like, "Hey, if you threw any quarterback in there, they'd play well. If you threw Sam Darnold in there, he'd be a Pro Bowler." I mean, hell, we might find out.
We're gonna find out.
But then again, one game is not really fair to find out anyway. But hey, listen, you can't be fair in life all the time. We move on anyway.
Facts.
The Raiders and the Bears. I'll be honest with you, didn't really tune into this one too much. Good for the Bears, getting this dub for them. Well, maybe not good for them because I'm sure that Bears fans just want a higher draft pick, but they got the Panthers draft pick anyway, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can't even remember. I know it's Tyler something. It's like Tyler Bag.
Tadger.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
A D2 quarterback gets a win in the NFL. Of course, last week, as I said, I was like, yeah, I doubt that some D2 quarterbacks can get a win in the NFL. Oh, how much do I know about sports? 30 to 12. And listen, to me, and I mean, I see Raiders fans, they've been clamoring for it forever. But God, how much do you have to hate life with Josh McDaniels as your coach? I mean, he is just like we joke around sort of about like this player's made because of this or this person's made because of this player. Like, you want to talk about Brady made? What did he do with Denver that was special? I mean, I know they went on that little playoff run with Tebow, but they were never, special, obviously. No. Then he gets fired from there. He comes back, whatever, goes to the Raiders, and the Raiders have been worse than they were before. I mean, and it's not like they don't. Like Max Crosby is a good player. Obviously, you have Adams. Myers has been playing very well. Like, you got people over there. Like, they shouldn't be this awful, but I think he's just that awful. And Raider fans are definitely clamoring for the day that he gets fired. But I mean, and apparently Devontae Adams isn't going to get traded. It's just a mess.
We're gonna give it one more year with McDaniels. I think after this year, one more year after that, if he can't get it done, he's out of here. He's just not that guy. He's just not a head coach. Some guys you look into the league and you see, they could be really good coordinators, but you got to be a leader of men. Like, look, we're going to talk about the Steelers and Rams later, but bro, Mike Tomlin. I mean, like, is there a better guy in terms of like guys believing in you every single week that we're going to go out wherever it is, whether it's in Pittsburgh, whether it's on the road in LA, we're going to go get this dub. They don't feel that same energy in Las Vegas, man.
Oh,
And
absolutely not.
they tried to build Patriots West, and they really need to build the Raiders. Like,
I really do feel like that's just an ex Belichick person thing.
oh yeah, they brought in
Everybody does it.
they brought in an executive from the Patriots, and then he hired McDaniels.
I
So
mean, you
yeah,
remember even the Titans a few years ago? What they brought in like it was like the entire secondary was ex Patriots. I guess.
but Vrabel's a leader of men.
No.
So
I
it's
think
yeah,
Vrabel's good. I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, it's like anybody that was ever involved with Belichick, like, I don't understand why these. Don't get me wrong, he's the GOAT, obviously, but like, don't you have to like have your own thing there, brothers?
Exactly, and that's what it is right there. Having your own identity. If you're going into a new team as a new head coach, and you're trying to be like the coach that you were with on the team you were with before. Players are going to see right through that. Like they players see through fake people, bro. And like I said, I don't know him personally and stuff like that, but just based on the stories I've seen from former players, Champ Bailey, Brandon Marshall, those guys, when they were on those Broncos teams, it just the vibe, it just never worked. And I feel bad for Devontae Adams. I'm sure. Remember, he wanted to go to Vegas to play with Derek Carr. Now Derek Carr's in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So they said they don't want to trade him. I would ask for a trade. I would request a trade. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. You know they're going to ask for a multitude of picks to try to get back what they lost when they acquired him. But I just don't see Josh Jacobs free agent next year. I mean, this could be a poverty team going into next year, honestly, no doubt. So, and then you want to hand the keys and have someone like Josh McDaniels pick the quarterback or pick the guys of the future going into next year when you have a bad draft pick. That's a tough outlook if you're Mark Davis. Mark Davis, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but in terms of team building, hasn't been great. Hasn't been great since his father passed. That's not been good. So they had to figure it out. The Bears, it was a good home win. They did exactly what they needed to do when you have a young quarterback. It doesn't matter D2, D3, D1. You're supposed to run the football. This is the same thing they're supposed to do with Justin Fields under center. Run the football. Deontay Foreman had a great game. He went crazy.
3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. Play action. The play action was on. And when you're able to run the football, we already know what happens and how it sets up easier passes for everybody on the outside. So it was just a great game plan from Chicago defensively too. I believe they had 3 picks, one on the rookie quarterback that they had, and 2 on Hoyer. Hoyer had 2, and Hoyer's in there. Garoppolo, but you should already know when you sign a guy like Garoppolo, knowing his injury history, knowing he had a shoulder problem. Yeah, remember he had the issues with the physical when he first got there. When you gave him 50 something $million over 3 years, you should already have an insurance plan for this guy. Brian Hoyer is not that insurance. Brian Hoyer is a guy who was like when Mark Sanchez was a quarterback in the Jets, and they had Mark Brunell in there, like a young guy, teacher, help him out. This is how to be a quarterback. That's Brian Hoyer at this stage of his career. He's not coming in games. He's not coming into the.
He hasn't won a start since 2012.
Yeah, I think he was on the Colts back then. Like
I think it was the Colts against the Bears.
Ironically enough, it's just.
It was either the Bears or the Raiders. It was one of the teams in this game that he ended up beating. I remember seeing that. But I mean, and then you see after the game too. Here's like the thing I'll never understand is if you know you're a bad team, and I think the Raiders should know, or not even that, but like you know what Brian Hoyer is. It has been 12 or 15 something years in the NFL. You know what he is. It's Aiden O'Connell, right? I want to make sure. Yeah, Aiden O'Connell. I want to make sure I got that right. Unbelievable preseason. He started that game against the Chargers. First of all, Khalil Mack sacked him 6 times. I want to know what veteran quarterback would have had a great game if that happened to them. Not many. 6 times by one person. which is unbelievable. And then, you hear after the game, why didn't you start Aiden O'Connell, like Brian Hoyer? This isn't the preseason. Like, yeah, way to go, McDaniels. Nice vote of confidence for your guys. Like, how is that your response?
Yeah, again, he's not a head coach, right? And then the head coach it's not just X's and O's. It's about being able to handle media, answering questions, not like that. Because again, your team they watch all these interviews, they see everything that you're saying outside of the locker room when you're having these questions being asked by the media. They watch all this type of stuff, man. They want to know if this is a guy I should follow, and again, as I said, he's just not that dude. Um, they have some talented guys, like you talked about earlier at the top of the segment, but you need a team. You need a team. You see a bunch of teams with some talented individual players, but you need a collective. One, they don't have a quarterback, so obviously that's a minus. They don't have a great offensive line,
Yeah.
so that's another minus. Those are two things that they haven't been able to figure out since.
They don't really have anybody besides Crosby.
Oh, defense? No. Yeah, no one but Crosby and Devontae Adams on offense. Josh Jacobs has been solid, but again, it's like, how could you really judge him with that putrid offensive line? It's like where is he supposed to run? What lanes is he supposed to run?
See, that's the thing that sucks for running backs too, because now you're hearing everybody, oh, like what happened to Josh Jacobs? Like, did he fall off? Like last year, he led the league in rushing. You realize people, things change, right? Like things aren't always exactly the exact same thing. Like, I'm sure if he had this offensive line last year, he would have been terrible too.
I would love to see him on the Ravens. I would love to see him on the Ravens. I think it's a great fit. Obviously, Dobbins just plagued with injuries. He gets back Achilles, ACL the last 2 years. You just can't trust that. I like that running core right now, but if they got someone like Jacobs around behind that offensive line in Baltimore, my goodness.
Scary hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Just talking about scary. Myles Garrett is a grown-ass man. Myles Garrett is a scary human being. I mean, the Browns escape, I should say, and emphasize on the escape with a 39-38 win over the Colts. Obviously, we know that the two calls at the end of the game were absolutely terrible. In fact, Jim Irsay tweeted out that the NFL kind of reached out and said, yeah, we blew that one. We blew that one. It was the illegal contact on Amari Cooper, which that one really ended the game because the Colts had gotten a strip sack on that play, and then they called the illegal contact. Obviously, that negates the play. And then on the very next one, listen, the ball landed in the stands. It bounced and then landed in the stands, and they said that it was pass interference. Now, listen, I've seen some passes that I've thought were uncatchable, and they still call pass interference, but that one was like, how was that even possible? You know what I mean? Like, I was just very, very confused as to how that wasn't considered an uncatchable ball. And you know what else this game really taught me, CJ, that I think we all know, but this one really taught me? Nobody knows what they're talking about. Not a clue. Browns are the best defense in football, right? They just shut down the 49ers. Their man coverage gives up no yards. They got this, they got that. It's going against Gardner Minshew, who, career backup basically, besides for a little time in Jackson. 38 points. 38 points against that unbelievable Browns defense, who just shut down a fully healthy, sort of. Nah, not really. Sort of. 49er team the week prior. We have no idea what we're talking about. I mean, we're basically throwing darts. And whatever one lands and we're closest to, see, I told you I was right. Because, I mean, if you looked yourself in the mirror and said 39-38 for the Colts, please, I'm begging you to give me the winning lottery numbers because I don't want to work ever in my life.
Yeah, no one saw that. No one saw that at all. This game was weird. It's a weird game for a lot of the reasons you talked about. Definitely didn't see the score. So definitely saw a low scoring. Sean Watson came in the game, got hurt with the concussion, sat for the rest of the game.
But I mean, those two
wasn't playing great. Yeah, he had two interceptions.
I think only one because one got called back. But I mean, you want to talk about just an awful throw? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, you can't make those throws. You can't cross your body. I mean, it's only really one guy in the world that can make that type of throw. It's Patrick Mahomes, and be successful at it. So, trying to do too much, cost him. Got cost for getting hit, got a concussion. Want to be on the safe side. Obviously, just coming back off the shoulder injury, concussion, head problems. You don't want to risk it. And PJ Walker came in there and did a solid job. Did what he needed to do. It's a close game. The coach should have definitely won this game. Those calls in the fourth quarter down the stretch. There's some terrible calls by referees. Terrible calls. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because these refs, like, yeah, it's easy to come out after the game, like, yeah, we were wrong. But these guys, there's careers on the line each game. You gotta this sport is a week to week basis. So like when you're making, and I know they're human. I know they're human, and you're bound to make mistakes. But what's the point of all this technology and replay and things of that nature? If if the ref says this is a call, and it could get dicey because then you could have a situation where coaches just start challenging for pass interference, and to be honest, if then it really slows the game down because it's really, you could argue this PI.
Like my argument for that too is you only get 3 challenges per game, and you have to get the first 2 right to even get that. Like it's not like they have unlimited flags. So like slowing down the game, I guess, but like I don't know. I'm always been in the camp of I would much rather get stuff right. Like all this technology, like it's the human error of the game. Well, guess what? I have the resources to not have human error. Like, listen, I know that's been a part of the game forever. I'm sorry, we advanced. Listen, we used to Fred Flintstone it around in a rock bed. Like we evolved.
Exactly. Yeah. So my thing is just like you've seen sometimes the refs. They'll throw the flag, say it's a call, and then come back to the mic and be like, there was no foul on the play. I think those guys in New York watching all these games, the officiating committee, however many guys sit down and watch the games and dissect every single game, all the monitors and the screens they got up. If you see that's a blatant no call, go to the mic, cipher it to whoever's the lead official and say, listen, you guys got the call wrong. That wasn't PI. Pick up the flag. Like if it's that blatant, like where it's not even close to PI, you have to make an adjustment there to the point it shouldn't even have to come to the coaches challenging the call right there.
And I mean, Irsay came out and said that like these things should be reviewable, and I don't disagree with it. But the only other problem with it too is we saw that pass interference for a little bit was a reviewable play because it was, but to me, I don't think they ever took it seriously because it was kind of like piss off to Saints fans from that NFC Championship game against the Rams where you want to talk about getting screwed out of going to a Super Bowl. I mean, Jesus, but it was kind of just like, okay, can you guys finally shut the hell up? Because I think when they did make pass interference reviewable, out of all the challenges there was, I think one got overturned or like whatever it was. And then they took it out the very next year because it was like, see, it's not even worth it. I think that they did it just to be like, okay, shut up. See, it didn't work. Okay. And I don't even think they actually gave it a chance.
Competition committee, they got to figure that out. These players, you sign this CBA, right? And you just put all your trust in DeMaurice Smith. You gotta start speaking up and be like, yo, we need these things in our collective bargaining agreement when it's time to sit down with these owners in terms of how the game's being officiated. Because as I said earlier, like these are guys' careers. These are coaches' jobs, players' jobs, staff, all this type of stuff. Like on these calls, like these things could really affect employment for a lot of players, really, for a lot of coaches.
It's just tough because I mean, listen, you're not crying for any of these guys going to sleep normally, but you hold out, and it's millionaires. Well, once again, not crying for it. I mean, versus billionaires. And let me tell you something: the billionaires are going to win every single time because you guys aren't going to play? Okay, we'll wait you out because you guys want your contract eventually. you guys aren't going to hold out to the point where you're going to start missing game checks and stuff like that. I mean, we saw it with baseball where they went in and then they had to shuffle some of the season around and things of that nature. But baseball contracts are also guaranteed, like fully.
Yeah, so
So
it's different. Yeah, it's different. It's
they can exactly, that's what I'm saying. They can probably afford to, like, okay, listen, I got my contract, whatever. Even if we start the season late, I'm still getting my full pay. I don't really care. You
right.
start the season late with the NFL, it's like, okay, well, I got one game check instead of I got this many game checks instead of this many game checks, and well, I didn't hit this incentive now because we didn't play in this, and it's like, and obviously some people are mixing signing. It's just like holding out is definitely or locking out, I guess you could technically say is what it would be,
Yeah.
is what they have to do, but I don't think they can, just because I don't think they can win that battle, obviously.
It shouldn't even have to come to doing a lockout or a holdout. I mean, you have a guy that's supposed to represent the players, Lamar Smith. That's his job, and he's getting paid however many. I think he's a millionaire. I mean, why wouldn't he? Why he's getting paid millions of dollars to represent the players? These are the type of discussions that he should be having with Roger Goodell and the officiating committee and these guys, because.
Well, what they also have to do is how is it that the NFL is not full-time referees? Like they go, these referees go throughout the season, they leave, and then they go back to being like a banker.
But they get good pay though. Like, it's not like they
no,
get,
but that's what I'm saying.
McDonald's salary.
Like, how are you not a full-time? The only sport that doesn't have it.
Yeah, but I don't think that matters in terms of making the right call, though. I mean, it's like
I mean,
like,
don't you
still
think
got two eyes? You out there?
No, absolutely. I see where you're coming from, but I mean, full-time referees, then that means instead of the off season when you're going back to being a banker, you're going to ref schooling, or you can watch things that were this or that. Like, you can always improve on your craft. Listen, players practice in the off season. Referees should too. I was watching other stuff too. Like, imagine not like a practice squad sort of for referees, but kind of in the same nature where it's like, oh, you made a terrible call. Okay, you're getting demoted. Like, you're not working this week. We're going to bring somebody else in, and then you have to work your way back up. Don't you think that would be like, hey, I better get stuff right now, because now I'm potentially losing out on stuff? Because that's the thing. Oh, we take away their postseason stuff. Now, listen, I understand that is a big deal, because obviously you want to ref postseason games, probably a lot of money in it, whatever. But that also doesn't stop them from going out the very next week and messing something up again, because they're still on the field the next week. I understand they're not going to be on the field in the playoffs when you really need your best. But what if the Colts miss the playoffs by a game now?
Right. That's what we're saying. Yeah.
And they technically, because then you could say, oh, well, how do you know they would have won the game anyway? Because one of the calls in this game literally lost them the game. If there's no illegal contact, strip sack, game's over, boom. They call the bad one, Browns come back, win the game, Colts miss the playoffs by a game. You can legitimately look back and be like, well, we got screwed.
Yeah, they got to figure it out. There's a lot of answers. A lot of people have different opinions. Obviously, we have ours in terms of it, but I mean, just got to do better. Just have to do better. All in all, that's the best thing to say about it.
We move on. The Bills versus the Patriots. Patriots get a nice 29-25 victory, I should say. Definitely a little bit of a shocker here. Be the worst team possible. I was not expecting them to win this game whatsoever. This was obviously Mac's best game of the season. Honestly, probably the entire team's best game of the season, obviously. Because even that win against the Jets, it was disgustingly ugly. But the offensive line actually did well, which I didn't even think that was personally possible to happen this year. Kendrick Bourne did his thing besides that fumble, which I'm sure means he's probably not going to play next week.
He's going to be out there. We need that boy, man.
I mean, Bill. But, I mean, yeah, listen, a good win for them. And listen, I'm not going to get hyped about anything. Doesn't mean the Patriots are back. Doesn't mean they're going to go on a run here or something. at least in my eyes, right? I think the clear bigger story is the Bills. And for me, it's kind of like, what do we expect from them? And because at this point in the season, you kind of are who you are. If this is the first 2-3 weeks of the season, you're like, oh, you're getting the dents out, or we're working things out on the offense and the defense, whatever. We were trying new things, but like, you're 7 games into the season, and I've said it from the very beginning. I think Josh Allen is an amazing quarterback, could be an MVP. I think he's one of those, top 3 best quarterbacks in the league, whatever. They ask him to be Superman on every single play. Every single play, he has to do something special. And is he capable of doing it a lot of times? Yeah, he does. I mean, you see him stiff arm linemen and then throw a pass while he's getting sacked and it be a touchdown, running people over for the first down, things of that nature. I understand he can do it. But on every play, you're taking something out of it. And here's where I think we've also overrated them. Look at their offense. Let's be 100% honest. It's Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and then we always think Gabe Davis. But besides like 3 or 4 games throughout the year, do you really think Gabe Davis is really that special? Like, is he even a top 30 wide receiver? I mean, like,
No.
it's really Diggs and Allen. And
They got to the AFC Championship game with Diggs and Allen.
Yeah, but that's never the end goal. Obviously the end goal is always the Super Bowl, and to win it. But I mean, they haven't been able to run the ball forever. I thought that they were going to be able to do it a lot more this year with Cook, because it kind of looked like in the beginning of the year that they were going to be able to do it. They still haven't really done that. And then, I mean, outside of Diggs, like, you have to look at all the good teams, right? You got the Eagles, it's AJ Brown, Smith. 49ers is, I mean, Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, and CMC.
Right.
You have, I mean, the Chiefs is just special because Travis Kelce and
I was
Mahomes.
about to say, you can't say the Chiefs because we've been saying the same thing about the Chiefs the whole time.
Kelce and Mahomes is just, might be the greatest hookup of all time. And also on that end, we always talk about offense for the Chiefs. Their defense hasn't let up 21 points in the game this season so far. So, I mean, their defense has been unbelievable, but that's a different discussion for a different day. And I mean, you just look at the Dolphins. It's Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, and then they have 16 running backs that they can go to. Like, it's all of these, pairings and multiple people on the team. And I just think that they put so much on Josh that it's like, hey, if you don't play A+, we're probably not going to win. And it's not like I'm trying to make excuses for him because, I like watching him or anything of that nature. I think it's just based in fact, where if he doesn't play outstanding, they can't win, because I think we've gotten used to their offense being Diggs and Allen so much and him playing Superman all the time that we've overrated it to the point of we think all these other people are much better than they are.
Yeah, I agree with some of the stuff you said. He's also a turnover magnet.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he has the most turnovers in the league since he came in.
Yeah, let's also put that in consideration. I mean, he turns the ball over a lot. I do agree with your points about they don't have two elite guys on the outside like some of the teams you mentioned, but they should have beat us. I mean, it's like we 1-5 going into this game. They had a close one against the Giants on Sunday Night Football the week prior. This should have been a get-right game. Can't turn the ball over. I mean, Bill Peppers that was one of the best interceptions I've seen in a long time. He caught the football like a receiver on that pick. They just have these slow starts, lethargic starts. I don't know what it is. I mean, is it Ken Dorsey as a play caller? Because when he had Dayball, it was night and day. I mean, his ability, it was just working for him. I think some of it is also Josh Allen trying to do too much. Not taking the singles, not taking the doubles, just trying to make the big plays all the time. And you should know going into a game as a defense, he's at least going to give you the football one time, at least one time. He's that gunslinger type. Uh, yes, it's the majority. It's more good than bad when he plays the majority of the time over these last 4 years, but he is going to turn the ball over. So we got to capitalize on that, and that's what New England did. They capitalized on this game. What's the answer? I mean, they could make a trade. I think they should, go out there try to get a guy, Sutton, Judy, see, try to see what's going on with Denver. See, I don't know what the Saints. We talked about them. We don't think everything's completely out of whack per se, so they might not move a guy.
I mean, I don't know if it was true because there's 900 NFL rumor accounts, but if the Titans would trade Hopkins.
Yeah, sure. So we'll see in these next 2 weeks what they do, but they also put themselves in these predicaments outside of the talent and outside of things that they still put themselves in this situation. And New England was just the first time this season where they actually capitalized on the other team's mistakes by scoring touchdowns. Field goals to get you beat in this game. This team was scoring 3 points, 0 points, 17, 20. I mean, it was just the offense was terrible. I mean, the offense pretty much just drive down the field, be perfect, didn't get a field goal. Like they'll get all the way to the 20-yard line and then have to kick a field goal. That's demoralizing for an offense. Yes, you're getting points, but it's not the ultimate thing that you want. But in this game, it was 22-10, and I'm with like 6 minutes left, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag. And then Allen, Diggs, Davis, Diggs, touchdown. I'm like, okay. Then the fumble. Then they tie it up. I mean, then they get the lead. Let's get the 2-point conversion. I'm like, here we go. And listen, to Mac's credit, came down. The last week he had an opportunity to go drive down the field and win the game. Wasn't able to do so. Unsuccessful. This week was a different story. I think this is their first home win of the season. Crazy. And Bills 300th win. Congrats to Bill.
Yeah.
303 Bills. I mean, that's definitely not an easy thing to do in this league. So congrats to Belichick there. And Mac drove down the field and had that screen pass to Ramondre, did most of the work.
Yeah.
But had a big pass to Kendrick Bourne, big pass to Pop Douglas. Parker had his only catch of the game in that drive. And the pass to Gesicki was nice. Honestly, the first play, before that play, he threw it over Demario Douglas. I'm like, bro, like he was wide open off this. As soon as the ball was hyped, just throw it right there, put it in his chest, touchdown. Not even, but yeah. But they came in and the next play, great pass to Gesicki, and
followed by a great gritty, right?
Not so much. But he's kind of made it his own now.
He's memed it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good for him. The whole team is doing it. I think that was a fun moment. It's a good win. Am I like overly excited going forward? No. Got Miami next week. They just came off an L. They trying to get a get right game, and it's in Miami, and we already know our record in Miami is not great.
And Tua hasn't lost a bill.
All the narratives are there. So what is this team? And I'm looking at this team on a week-to-week basis. I'm happy that we won, but I'm not really. I'm not excited going forward, or I think this team is going to turn the tide and get the 500. I have to see much more than that. But I did like what I saw from the offensive line. Offensive line protected Mac extremely well. No turnovers, clean game. I think it was like 22 or 25 in this game. And if you're like I say, he's not Lamar, he's not Josh, he's not Patrick Mahomes, he's not any of these elite guys. But if you're able to protect him, he could be solid. He could be good. And that's really all you could ask for, man. And so that O-line needs to, really, they need to figure out those 5 guys up front first. And I think once they get that together, I think he'll have more success. And then also, again, last thing for me with the offense is Kendrick Bourne and Demario Douglas, they need to be wide receiver 1 and 2 moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
We already said what we said about Parker over the last few weeks. just not that guy. He's just not that guy. I'm just leave it at that. Juju's out the line, not even in the lineup with an injury. Douglas and Bourne, and then you sprinkle in Farrell Brown, Hunter Henry, and Gesicki with those three guys. Zeke getting in the end zone. That's a good to see. Zeke, I mean, that's what we brought him in there for, to be that red zone guy to score touchdowns. So this was definitely the best win of the season for the Patriots. And for Buffalo, it's just they have to find some consistency. They have to, because you don't want to get into a situation where you're losing these games. Then in the second half of the season, you got to damn near be perfect to get the certain placements, to get the certain seating in the AFC come playoff time.
Absolutely. The Commanders at the Giants. Giants get a 14-7 victory here. I mean, listen, just not much to talk about for me in this one. Just a disgustingly ugly game that was only on my phone because it's a local game, and well, I had nothing else. I mean, I had the good old Sunday ticket on the TV, but I was like, hey, I might as well put one on the phone too. I mean, I don't think I peered down at it more than 5 times. So I mean, 14-7. Giants are still terrible. Commanders, I've given up 40 sacks, I believe, so far this season. I think the record in a season is like 67 with David Carr back when he was getting murdered.
They're gonna break that.
Yeah. So R.I.P. to Sam Howell.
Fact. Yeah, he's getting rocked back there. Regardless of what you think about him as a quarterback, like I just said with Mac Jones, you have to protect him. You have to at least see what he can do when he has a clean pocket, and he hasn't been able to have that his tenure this first year as a starter, as a Commanders quarterback. But yeah, this was a low scoring game. It looked like the Giants could have broke this game out at times, but again, they're just hard. They are who they are. They're just an average team, and yeah, this game was just. I was watching it too, just by default, and I really have no choice. And I'm a fan of the game, so it's like you have to I'm watching.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's just one of those situations. But good win for the Giants, and for the Commanders, man. I have no faith in that team, man. That offensive line is terrible.
The Falcons and the Buccaneers. Falcons got a 16-13 victory here. Young Hoku with the walk-off field goal. Man had a swagger for a kicker, by the way. I don't know if you saw the video of him doing a little helmet toss after he drilled it. He's got some swagger for a kicker, I'm not going to lie to you. Another game that was nothing special. It looked like Baker was going to take him down the field and then at least tie things up, and then I think he threw another interception. Let me look up the numbers real quick just to make sure that I am correct. Desmond Ridder, 19 of 25, 250. He's just not that guy. I know they're 4-3, but I just don't think he's. They're winning with some pretty good defense. Obviously, there was the big thing this one too that Bijan didn't play. I think he got one touch. He was never on the injury report or anything of that nature. And apparently, they're being investigated now by the NFL for that, which won't really turn into anything. I highly doubt a little fine. But apparently he was having migraines or something of that nature since Saturday. So he only got one touch in this game or something like that. But definitely, not what you want, not having your best player. Obviously, everybody was very confused when it was happening. But yeah, Baker 27-42, 275, a touchdown and interception. So, nothing special on his end. Mike Evans is doing his thing, 6-82, and 6 for 82 and a touchdown. But like I said, for me, nothing too crazy in this one. Just a battle of the mids, and the Falcons were just a little more midi.
Just a little more midi. Yeah, this is like you said, battle of the average for sure. Great win by the Falcons. It's just that division, man. I really don't know what to think about. We knew it was going to be bad. I knew it was going to be a bad
it's the worst division in football by far.
Yeah, no doubt, easily. And Baker kind of coming back to life a little bit. I think they need to do a better job of running the football because he should not be throwing the football 42 times. He's thrown the ball 42 times. That opposing team got to get shot to win the game. Turn the ball over. And yeah, again, there's not too much to say about this one, man. Good win by the Falcons, and the Bucks. I really don't know. Like they have talent on that team, like on all three phases,
Yeah.
but it's just not clicking. And you know that happens when you have an average quarterback.
It's a quarterback league. It is a quarterback league. The Steelers versus the Rams. A little surprise here for me, at least. Steelers got the 24-17 victory over the Rams. Listen, Steelers are doing what they normally do. I mean, you said it earlier in the show. Mike Tomlin is, I mean, one of the best leaders of all time. I think he finally had his first losing season. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, which he had never had, which was just an unbelievable streak to begin with. Pickett was 17-25, 230, so nothing crazy there. Hey, George Pickens. Hey, you guys finally realize you should kind of actually use the guy? 5 for 107. He had the game-winning touchdown catch a couple weeks ago against the Ravens, so he's finally starting to break out. And honestly, the turning point of this game, like I said, was definitely on the defensive side of the football. Coming out of halftime, Ravens were up. They're not the Ravens, Jesus. The Rams were up, and TJ Watt turned into a corner. This man went back in zone coverage, read Matt Stafford, picked him off. I think he returned it back to like the 10-yard line, and that was kind of the turning point. And then obviously another game you got to talk about though, where they gave Kenny Pickett a first down and a QB sneak where this man was a yard short. And the Rams didn't have any timeouts left, so they can't challenge it. They measured it still. Like, that's one of those things, and I'm sorry, I know he doesn't have any challenges left, but how many times have you seen them review that just to make sure that they get it right anyway? Like, I feel like that's one of the, like, you're going to end the game. And I know we were talking about challenges before, and you can't fix everything because then what's the point of a challenge? But, like, I don't know, something that close, I feel like you should at least, like, take a look at it. Because I mean, I know that it wasn't under 2 minutes either, so it can't be a booth review or something. I don't know. I just feel like there should be something where they at least take a look at that. But the Steelers kind of escaped there because obviously that was the end of the game. They gave them the first down. They were able to kneel it out and walk away with a W. But I mean, the Steelers just keep doing their thing on defense, and it never. It just it's just what they do. Because I mean, you look at their offensive stats; it wasn't anything special. I mean, Kenny Pickett was 230 yards. Najee Harris had 53 rushing yards. Like, you go into a game against a team, you would take that all day, every day. So it definitely wasn't special, but Steelers defense is.
Yeah, they have a special defense. The Rams left 7 points out there. 2 missed field goals by Brett Maher, and then the missed PAT. Yeah, I mean, I see why. Like, he left out a touchdown by missing those kicks. So it would have been a tie ball game. It would have been in overtime when you would have had that discussion about. Yeah, he definitely. That was crazy. He definitely did not get.
Not even close.
Like not even
close. And that's the thing too. You could see it from the side. Like, it wasn't one of those things where like he was in the pile, so like you couldn't really see him. Like the shot right down the sideline, which is where the side judge would be standing anyway. He's not even close.
Clearly short. I don't know what's up with these guys in black and white. They have to figure that out. That's terrible. But still, Rams left points out on the field. And this is what I'm saying, when you leave it up to the ref, these things like this can happen. And ultimately, they paid for it. Steelers, they just find a way, man. Mike Tomlin, just top 5 coach in the world, bro. I mean, look what he has. I mean, he doesn't have this elite quarterback. He doesn't have an elite running back. I like the 2 young wide receivers that they have, but no one thinks of them as Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, those type of guys. Yeah. So, but that defense is elite. I mean, TJ Watt is just. I mean, what can you see? He can do everything. Strip sacks, fumbles, interceptions. he's just batting balls down at the line of scrimmage. He does that like his brother. Complete defensive player, and outside of Nakua went crazy in this game. I mean, he's special. He's special.
Dog.
Yeah, he's special. I mean, he just finds ways to get open.
That catch he had on the sideline.
Yeah, but between the safety and the corner, insane. Yeah, he's going to be
8 for 154.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy. He's going to be a guy, no doubt. Going forward, he's going to be a guy. And him and Cup, but these are games. I mean, they lost. They lost against Philadelphia at home, and they lost against the Steelers at home. We got to get these. We got to get these wins at home, man, because the Seahawks, they're getting dubs at home. They're getting W's, and you want to try to get that 6 or 7 spot in the playoffs, and and right now they're still in contention for it. But losing this way when the game was definitely there for the taking is a tough loss for the Rams. But again, this Steeler team is just they're just built different. You just cannot sleep on this team. Like you can sit here and say all everything that we just said about that offense, but they just still then you look at the end of the game after 60 minutes, you're like, how did they win this game? And you just look at their defense and just how well coached they are. But Mike Tomlin is just it's on a different level when it comes to coaching.
Absolutely, he is. Hold on, I was just having to type something out, and we should be all good. But with that being said, we move on to the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Seahawks with a 20-10 victory here. Cardinals are they're coming back down to earth. CJ, I would say. They were playing teams competitive. Unless you only lose by 10 here, it's still definitely a competitive game, two-score game. Anything could have happened in this one, but they're kind of coming back down to earth. Seahawks, do what they're supposed to do in this one. You beat a lesser team. No DK Metcalf in this one. I believe I think it's a rib. I want to say, or something of that nature that he's dealing with. I can't remember the exact details of his injury, but yeah. Listen, the Cardinals are going to be bad no matter what. It was just a matter of if they were going to be a bad competitive or like just bad, and they're always competitive bad. So you can still watch their games and kind of be entertained instead of like, okay, they're losing by 30 every game. Dobbs 19 of 33, 146 in this one. Obviously I think too that they just desperately missed James Conner, who got hurt earlier in the year because he was doing his thing when he was healthy with them, definitely running the offense through him. Geno Smith was 18 of 24, 219, 2 touchdowns. Listen, Kenneth Walker the third, not talked about enough. Not talked about enough. 26 carries, workhorse, 105 yards in this one. So they were pounding the rock, and uh, Smith and Jigba 4 catches, 63 yards, a touchdown in this one. Thought it's good to see him break out because obviously there was a lot of high hopes of him coming out of college. You're adding him to the mix with Lockett, and you're adding him to the mix with DK, and then he had kind of been quiet through the first portion of the season. People kind of wondered when he was going to get involved. Obviously, scores a touchdown in this one. You kind of hope that this sparks something in the offense that DK comes back. It's like, damn, who we covering now? So Seahawks did what they're supposed to do in this one. Their defense is playing well. I mean, we've gone over several times that, I think the last like 4 draft picks they've had on defense have just been absolute studs. So they did what they had to do in being a lesser team. And, we'll see them in a wild card spot. Technically too, one game out of the division.
Yeah, I feel like both of us still probably going to take.
Oh, no, I don't get me
San
wrong.
Francisco.
Absolutely taking the 49ers. Just threw it out there, a little nugget.
But they have a defense that definitely give Brock Purdy some problems. They have a because remember now I believe they put up 41 on Seattle last year in the playoffs. So they have a defense now. And Pete Carroll's done a great job of getting some young guys, hungry guys, just like how we saw back in 2013, 2014, and get some guys ready to play, lock in, buying into the system. And as long as Gino just plays within himself and just gets the football to those guys, they're going to be successful. They're a really balanced football team. And DK wasn't out. DK wasn't there, but Smith and Jigba, another young wide receiver, came in there and made a great catch on the right side in the end zone, big time touchdown. Just that's what you want. That's what you want. And for Arizona, yeah, their defense has improved. I'll give them that. They're not just completely getting blasted. There were a couple of games in these losses where they did, but their defense has been much better. It's just what's going to happen when is Kyler going to come back? Me personally, I I would just shelf him for the whole year because you just don't want to risk another injury. He's not playing for anything. It'd
Yeah.
be different if they were like 500 and he's coming back and you can try to save the season. But this is not the case now. So I would shelf him for the whole year. He's already a smaller guy coming off a major injury with a knee injury. They don't have a running game like how we talked about in the beginning of the year for Arizona, which is something that you should definitely lean on when you have someone coming off that type of injury. I would shelf him for this year, have him come back 24, 25. But Seahawks, they're doing what they did last year. I mean, no, I'm not surprised. I mean, last year I was surprised, but this year I'm not. So uh, they're staying consistent, and it was a really good divisional win.
We go to the Packers versus the Broncos. Broncos with a 19-17 victory here. Listen, I think the whole thing is, I mean, Jordan Love just hasn't really been anything the first few weeks of the season. It was 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. I believe now it's been like 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, or 6 interceptions since that time. So he's definitely struggling in the NFL right now. The offense just doesn't. I mean, you have some pieces over there. You got, AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, which should be, a good 1-2 punch. It should be, at least, of course. You got Romeo Dobbs, a nice young wide receiver, Christian Watson, but I believe he ended up getting hurt in this game. So, yeah, best ability is availability, as everybody always says. So, I mean, listen, I don't think this changes anything for the Broncos either, though. Honestly, I think both of these teams aren't really going anywhere unless Jordan Love turns it around. Broncos, I don't think they're going anywhere no matter what, because, I mean, you see it on Twitter all over the place now that they are more than prepared for that fire sale. They are looking to, I mean, they're getting calls on Surtain, Simmons, who's their Bowles, they're linemen or whatever.
Yeah, offensive line.
So I mean they're they're geared up and ready for that fire sale. They got to get some of these picks back that they used to get Russell, to get Sean Payton. So they're definitely getting ready to trade away some of their players. I don't think a win here is going to really change any of that. But hey, I mean, it's also been good to see their defense, which is sad almost in a way, I guess, too, improve a little bit. Obviously they gave up the 70 to the Dolphins, but since then it definitely hasn't been. I mean, it can never be as bad as that, but it's gotten substantially better, I'll say. And it's playing a little bit better, but they're probably going to lose a bunch of pieces on that defense anyway. What's the safety's name? He just got suspended
For
Kareem Jackson. Yes, Kareem Jackson. There we go.
4 games.
Yeah, 4 games for another hit. I see some people saying it's warranted. You got NFL players saying that it's not. This is football, whatever. Repeat offender, iffy call. You kind of see what's going to. Yeah, but I mean, I think if he's not a repeat offender, he doesn't get suspended. Like if this is his first one, but I mean, he's been thrown out of 2 games this season, and I think he's been fined like 4 consecutive weeks for hits. So he's out for 4 games. I know he's appealing it. I don't know how that'll go. Maybe they'll knock it down a couple games or whatever, but nothing too special in this game. Another battle of the midway.
Yeah, Jordan Love, I think, we're sitting, it's just tough to assume just because he sat for 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers, he's supposed to be good. I think that was a bad assumption. It's going to take some time, man. It's still his first year as a starter. I'm not going to give up on him completely. I see a lot of guys giving up on him, but I have to see another year. I mean, I can't just sit here and say he can't be that guy after just 1 year of starting. It's different sitting and holding the clipboard and having the headset on. It's a completely different thing when you're out there experiencing guys running at you. You got to make the right read. Guys got to be open. You have to make the right play. So I'm gonna give him another year. If by next year he's still playing at the same level, then it's time to pack it up. But he's gonna struggle. He's still a young guy, and he's gonna make mistakes, and teams are gonna definitely capitalize off of that because he doesn't have a lot of in-game experience. So Denver did exactly that. They capitalized off of his inability, his inexperience in games. So it's just again not a win that they should get. It's a young quarterback, Russell Wilson, as a veteran. You have to win this type of game, and they did that. So solid win by Denver.
A game that I thought would be better, but the Chiefs take on.
I don't know why.
I mean, hey, listen, why not have some faith? Chargers at the Chiefs. Chiefs got a 31-17 victory. CJ, I'll talk about one thing in this game. One thing. I'll leave everything else to you. I swear to God. I cannot stand not, and it's not even with me saying that, it might not be going the way that you're thinking. I cannot stand how teams defend Travis Kelce. I can't do it.
Yeah, I did see the tweet. Yeah,
I cannot understand. Maybe it's because, as everybody knows, Patriot fan. CJ, we've seen it. Bill takes away your best player, makes somebody else beat you. What? How do you let Kelce? What do you have? 150 something yards at halftime?
12 catches for the game.
Like, what are you doing? That it literally boggles my. Like, I was genuinely laying down watching, angry. And I don't even, the Chargers aren't even my team, but it just annoys me to no end. Like, I wish they would have done this to Gronk. If everybody just left Gronk one-on-one all the time, at least they doubled him sometimes, chipped him at the line. Like, do something to throw off the rhythm. Like, and then you stick to a zone coverage. Yeah, that's a great idea. Just leave empty spots in the middle of the field that Kelce can sit down in. And
they gotta go zone. They got the worst pass defense in the NFL. They gotta go zone.
Wait. CJ, what do you mean? Brandon Staley's a defensive guy.
I know.
How is that the worst? 310 yards a game they give up through the air. The Jaguars are second with 278. And then the third, I believe, is the Broncos with like 250 something. 310 yards. That is unbelievable. I mean, listen, but it's not just the Chargers anyway. I mean, I would double team Kelce on every single play. I don't care what it costs me. Let everybody else on the team beat me. And if it really gets that bad and somebody else is going off, then maybe I'll come off of it. But it was just the most annoying thing I've ever watched in my entire life. Just him catching every single pass and nobody being within 5 yards of him.
Yeah, see, look how upset you are. You're not even a Charger fan. So just imagine. just imagine the Charger fans.
To me, it's common sense. That's why it annoys me.
I mean, he's been sunning the Chargers for the longest. So this is nothing new. They're the best team in football. Chiefs are the best team in football. 6-game winning streak. After that loss against the Lions, I mean, they haven't lost. So they just found ways. The defense, as we talked about a little bit earlier, has been dominant this year. They don't have, outside of Chris Jones, they may not have a guy that a casual name may know. Yeah. But collectively, Spagnuolo,
dog.
Yeah, they just find ways. Nick Bolton, that linebacker, Snead, that DB. They're a well-oiled machine, man. They're a well-oiled machine. It's as expected. This was Patrick Mahomes' best game of the year. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think this is his 10th 404 touchdown game. Yeah. The dude is just on a different level, man. Yeah. The dude is just on a completely different level. And Kelce, listen, look, Gronk is my guy. Gronk is my guy, and I'm always going to have him number one because I've just seen too much. But as a route runner, it's not even close. I gotta go with Kelce. I have to go with Kelce. His ability to create separation, yards after catch. If he stays healthy for these next 3-4 years, he'll definitely be number one in all the tight end categories. Because one, obviously we know the quarterback, and secondly, just his ability to just create separation on the routes. And it was, as I said, I know you were upset, but it was a perfect situation because the Chargers' defense is terrible.
Sure.
They can't play man to man, so you have to play zone. And Kelsey is an animal in zone. He's going to sit in all the spots where the zones are open, and Mahomes is going to sit there and just throw him the football. And if you're not able to tackle him, he's going to get 20 yards after the catch, 15 yards after the catch. It's just difficult to stop. They got a couple other guys that MVS had a touchdown in this game. I'm forgetting this guy's last name.
Rice.
Rice. Rasheed Rice. Yes, thank you. He played well in this game as well. McCole Hardman, guy that they just brought back from New York. Nice punt return. So it's just here we go again. I mean, it's just like the Patriots. It's just like the Patriots. I mean, they just find a way. They find ways to win, and they're going to be. There's no team, man. There's no team that's going to stop Kansas City going forward unless they completely fold, like how we saw in that AFC Conference Championship game in the second half against Cincinnati. Outside of that, I don't see a team. I don't see a team in the AFC stopping the squad. Maybe the Ravens. Maybe if they play how they played last week. Maybe.
It's certainly been something.
Because you got to go. Last thing, you got to go and win an Arrowhead. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like they get that home. We talked about home field advantage. They have ultimate Arrowhead. Arrowhead is a different beast. It's a different beast, and they're gonna have home field again. So
the only way to really go in there and win is to just punch them in the face first, because you got to take the crowd out of it. Like you got to go up like 21-0 and hold it till halftime, and then you can let the Chiefs come back a little bit, but just play keep away almost. That's honestly how you have to win. I mean, obviously that's a statement for every team no matter what, but especially there because you just can't let the crowd get into it there or else you're real screwed, because then signals are messed up, voice inflections aren't even be able to be used. It's just a mess. But we go on. The Dolphins and the Eagles. CJ, I said this on Gen Z on Monday. And, it's fun that, these games are back-to-back. This was the Chiefs and Eagles that I've been looking for the entire season. I thought, the Chiefs' offense hadn't really been, exactly – wow, I didn't even realize that they were the exact same scores, too. That just tripped me out a little bit. I'm not even going to lie. The Chiefs' offense hadn't really been humming to that point that we, we're kind of used to. Eagles have been kind of looking wishy-washy on both ends of everything. These were the two teams that I was looking for. I was like, okay, that's the Kansas City that I'm used to, and that's the Eagles of last year. I mean, first of all, the brotherly shove. Nick Sirianni came out after the game. He was like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's 1st and 9 on every play. Because if we only got 1 yard to go, what we're doing. And it's like a 93% success rate. So we're not going to stop doing it anytime soon, obviously. And I mean, everybody talks about Tyreek, rightfully so. Don't get me wrong. Unbelievable weapon. A.J. Brown, 4-5 games in a row over 125 yards receiving? 10 catches in this one, 137, a touchdown. I said it a couple weeks ago. I'd like to see Goddard involved more. 5 for 77 and a touchdown in this one. DeAndre Swift is just great for their running game. 15 carries with the 62 yards, averaging, about 4 yards a carry. What more can you really ask for? Hurts carried the ball 11 times in this game for 21 yards. I mean, obviously,
hurt a little bit.
Hurt a little bit. Yeah, that's true. And also, I'd probably say 3-4 of those rushes is the brotherly shove.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Obviously it's not going to be the most gaudy stats in the world. But he was 23 of 31, 279, 2 touchdowns. Did throw the interception. He's had a little bit of a turnover thing this season so far, especially in the last couple of weeks, which obviously you want him to get handled. But did you see what their Eagles defensive line was doing to the Dolphins? I mean, how did Carter get to the Eagles? How did people let that happen?
I mean, he had the situation.
Don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, listen. I mean, that's.
I mean, I know.
I was just saying that's why.
I mean, Jesus. And then casually, we're gonna go trade for Kevin Byard, real quick.
Yesterday, big move.
I mean, All Pro Bowler, led the league in interceptions once, just casually. Because, listen, their secondary was a little, iffy in the safety position. Now you just get an all-pro. Yeah, okay. And it was like a fifth, sixth, and Terrell Edmonds. Really? What does he have on the Titans? He finessed AJ Brown away and him. I mean, I know he's a little bit older.
You gotta look at John Robinson, the GM. What does he have on John Robinson?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
And I mean, Eagles moved to 6-1. This was their most. I mean, yeah, I think this might be their most complete, game of the season. And for the Dolphins, I'm not calling them frauds. I'm not, because they're 5-2. The offense is explosive. I'm just saying that their 5 wins, the teams that they beat record is like 8-26 or something. It is not, and they've lost to the Bills, who we thought were good and I think are still decent. Obviously, they're not bad. They're just probably not as good as we thought. And the Eagles. So they've beat bad teams, they've lost to good teams. Well, I'm not calling them frauds, but something to look out for.
Yeah. So Philadelphia, I mean, if all things stay the same and they continue to play well, I think we see a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. Just both of these teams, man. Philadelphia is just they're a well-oiled machine. We talk about this every week, how complete they are, and Howie Roseman, the guy's aggressive. He's aggressive. He's not complacent. He can easily be like, oh, we really have a great team. We need to get better. He sees a flaw in their secondary, and he goes out and get a guy like Kevin Byard, where he doesn't have to be all world. It has to do completely everything. Stay in the right spots. They have solid corners. They have a great corner, one of the best corners in the league, in Darius Slay, and a really good number 2, and Bradbury. Now you got Blankenship and Byard on the back end. I mean, just with that D line, you're gonna it's gonna create turnovers. Hassan Reddick, Sweat, Carter, Davis in the middle, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. Team is stacked. Team is completely stacked. You look at their third down numbers, it's like you can't really look at their third down numbers that way because, as you said, they're going forward on fourth and 1. So when you look at their third down conversion numbers, you're like, oh, it's terrible. But when you look at their fourth down conversion numbers,
who cares? They're playing with 4 downs all the time,
and that's such a demoralizing thing to do for an opposing team because you're not accustomed to that. You don't see that every single week, so you have to really have attention to detail. Yes, I'm sure teams are trying to game plan and learn and trying to figure out ways to stop it, jump in the snap. You saw Fred Warner jump over the snap in Monday Night Football and try to stop it. He did stop it in the red zone for a play, but there's a lot of guys that's not trying to do that. So it's not. You got to have a Fred Warner. There's only been so many teams that have players like that. That have that type of talent. So what's good? Yes, sir. Appreciate you stopping by. You gotta have guys. You gotta have guys like that to be willing to make those plays. With that offensive line, those guys in the middle, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Dolphins, the end of the second quarter, they tied it up, made it interesting. I was like, okay, because it was looking a little crazy. It was looking a little. I thought Philadelphia was gonna pull away, and ultimately they did. But they came back. They had the pick. Tyreek Hill dropped the easy touchdown that he should have caught, but they made up for it by scoring after Jalen Hurts had threw the pick in the red zone. Back on their own touchdown. Tua turned just a bad throw. That was such a bad throw. Kind of threw it off his back foot, lofted it up there. I still don't know who was throwing that football to. But then again, that's what happens. You get pressured the way he gets pressured with that Philadelphia D-line. You got so many guys coming at you. You probably make the throw earlier than what you should because you just don't have the time. And they don't have Teron Armstead in this game. They don't have some of their other guys. They want to be a power team, but they want to be a power. I know they want to be a power team, but they have to really hone in on trying to become that because on the road when you go up against these good teams, you have to be able to run the football, control the clock. It's cool to have the speed guys on the outside, and that's great, but the power should come first, then speed. If it's just speed then power, if it's speed first then power, you're not going to have the success. But if you're able to run the football first and then get those guys on the outside, as we've seen them do in these 5 months that they have, then that's the formula for success. And I still think they're going to win the division. I think they beat Buffalo in the next game when they match up again to really lock in and lock in that division. But home field advantage, not happy. Throughout, not happy, unless you have a completely disaster, with Kansas City, and you have to go on the road. You go on the road against KC. Tua's going to have to make Superman type plays in that game on third down. He's going to have to make those type of plays. He just has to. And he's going to have to be available. He's been available these first 7 weeks, going into 8 weeks. That's great. But we need to see that for the entirety of the season. And his record as a starter these last 2 years are really good. They're a really good team. But when they go up against these teams that have the same type of talent as them, Tua has to be that guy. And the thing is, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have that guy in Jalen Hurts. I know the turnovers have been more than what we've seen last year, and I think he needs to clean that up. He's not 100%. He kind of talked about that a little bit at the end of the game. But he has to cut the turnovers down, because you can't give the football back to these other teams with this type of roster. You just can't. You can't. Your team is too good to be giving the football away. So I think he knows that. AJ Brown, I know last week we said Tyreek Hill is the best non-quarterback, most valuable non-quarterback in the league. I mean, just look at what the Eagles have been since AJ Brown got there. I mean, it's right there on the same level. I mean, you got there.
Like it's such different reasons too. Obviously, I mean, it's quite obvious. Like, it's speed, bro. AJ Brown is a grown ass man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is a strong human being.
Yeah, and you see why he got upset. And then week 1 is getting the football, because he knows cornerbacks can't guard him. They don't want to tackle him. He's physical at the point of attack, and he gets yards after the catch. He gets yards after the catch, and when Tannehill was throwing those ducks out in Tennessee, really, you didn't really get to see his talent, completely be unlocked. Now with an excellent quarterback in Jalen Hurts, you're seeing everything in its totality. 125 a game. I mean, all he has to do now is just get the touchdowns. If he gets the touchdowns up, I mean, him and Tyreek are the 2 All-Pro wide receivers.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
Now we're starting to get those touchdowns. I think he had like 4 touchdowns on the year. So
yeah, somewhere in there.
I think he's going to be. To me, he's the second. I mean, it's 1A and 1B right now. With Jefferson being out, I think it's him and Tyreek as the 2 best receivers in the world, bro. I mean, this guy.
And we'll see. And we'll see. Obviously, I mean, Jamar's coming off a bye, so
every time he gets that, every time it's just the football, bro. It's just great things happen. Great things happen. Whether it's a comeback, slant. He's a monster.
Yeah, that's a big man.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's a monster. So great win by Philadelphia after a tough loss to the Jets the week prior.
The final game of the week, another disappointment from the 49ers as they took on the Vikings. Vikings get a 22-17 victory here. Hey, listen, didn't see it come, especially after Kirk throws the interception, where Ward kind of just, reminded me of when Julio Jones just bodied Malcolm Butler in the end zone and he just took it right out of his hand. That first Ward interception kind of reminded me of that one, where it was like, listen, little buddy, I'll take that one. And the 49ers just seemed off. They couldn't really get things going on offense. Defense gave up some non-49er plays. Like, it's funny, they were talking about it. Of course, you go to that good old announcer jinx where, they were super good on like 3rd and 15 plus. And of course it was like 3rd and 16. They gave that up to Hawkinson. They were giving up, plays down they had like a 19% completion percentage on passes, 20 plus yards down the field. They give up like 4 of them. Like it was 49ers just, the defense was not there. They couldn't get any pressure on Cousins, which, obviously for the defensive line that they have was very surprising. And then, hey, shout out Kirk. Played a good game. Then again, Probably should have thrown 2 interceptions because Ward should have had another one, but it kind of escaped his hands. And Jordan Addison did the opposite thing and said, "I'll be taking that one. You got one, I'll get one." Addison with 2 touchdowns in this game, kind of his breakout. Obviously, T.J. Hawkinson had a huge game as well. I believe he had 10+ catches or something of that nature. So a good win by the Vikings. And hey, listen, a couple weeks. This is why the NFL is a crazy place. A couple weeks ago, Viking season is over. Trade everybody, or start fresh.
Right.
They are 1 game away from being 500 and 500 in the NFC. That'll get you into the playoffs probably. So listen, and I mean for the 49ers, you don't have Trent Williams in this game. You don't have Debo. Maybe that changes some things up. Hey, everybody's dealing with injury, so I can't really, be the one to sit there and feel bad for you. I mean, the Vikings are doing that without Justin Jefferson. So,
Exactly.
like I said, everybody's dealing with injuries. I saw Brock Purdy's in concussion protocol now. There's clips coming out of him, QB sneaking and getting drilled in the head by somebody launching themselves in. So he didn't play very well in the second half of the game. Is that a partial reason why? And they never caught it? Something of that nature. I'm not a doctor. I wasn't there. I don't know. But he's in concussion protocol. It's kind of up in the air right now if he's going to be able to play against the Bengals. If not, Sam Darnold's going to play. But a little 2-game losing streak here for the 49ers. And, hey, they got to be careful too because the Eagles are 6-1. You expect those 2 teams to be at the top, home field advantage. Obviously, the 49ers had to go to Philly last year. I'm sure they don't want to do it again. So they got some things to get straightened out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like Brock Purdy. He's a good quarterback, and he still hasn't even had a full season of starting games yet.
I think this game was his 17th start.
Oh, it was? Okay. In the regular season?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, actually, it might be. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, right. You're right. They were 10-0 last year, or something like that. And they came in. Yeah. So when everything's not perfect, it's the same thing I just said with Tagovailoa. It's the same exact thing, bro. It's like when everything is not perfect, can you make those plays? And he had 2 opportunities to do that, and they were unsuccessful. I mean, last week he had opportunities to do that as well with those guys being out, and he wasn't able to do it. 2 interceptions, interception late in the game that pretty much sealed it for the Vikings. It's a good win for the Vikings. It's a good win. I mean, you get a golf clap for me because it's just, okay, you got a good Monday Night Football game. Kirk had his best primetime game in his career. Cool. What are you gonna do in the playoffs? Like that's really they should be battling with the Lions, and maybe we do see this down there with these next few as the season. I mean, as the weeks go on, maybe they do battle with Detroit for this top spot, but it should be neck and neck right now. And I think they're 2 games out, and
Yeah.
you can't put yourself in this type of hole that they put themselves in. I know they bounced back with two wins in a row, but they have to play better. So this is a good win. Jordan Addison went crazy. 3 touchdowns, two touchdowns.
I want to say it was 2, and he almost had a third, but I can let me confirm.
Stepping up in Jefferson's absence was just all world, man. He had an excellent game on Monday Night Football. Stage watching against a really good team, I'm not completely out on San Fran. I still think they're a great team, but these are the type of wins you should be getting when you don't have a guy or 2. They should still be able to get wins. That goes to show how great of a team you are. When you're missing
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Okay.
He had 7 for 123, 2 tuds.
Yeah, he went crazy. When you're missing guys, when you're missing a certain player, Brock Purdy has to be that guy. He didn't play terrible, but those two picks were loud.
In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter. So that's the money quarter, and you have to be successful during that time. And outside of the interception that Kirk had in the first quarter, he played great. So I'm gonna give him his credit. But I just need to see more. I need to see them in the playoffs, bro. I'm not that impressed from what I saw from the. It was a good win against a really good team, but let's see if they can string along some dubs, get to the playoffs, and play solid because the talent is there. The talent is there from what they got on the outside. So Jefferson is coming back, so a really good win in front of that home crowd. And for San Fran, we'll see what happens. We just have Purdy with the concussion, Darnold coming in. You know, this is. I think they see Philadelphia. I think they play a
Yeah.
couple other good teams down the road as well. So this is going to be really interesting to see how they play going forward.
Well, listen, everybody. Usually we go right into our week 8 predictions, but a little something here. We're gonna do our top 5 teams of the week.
So,
All right. Now this was surprising me. So, CJ, I'm letting you go first, and not going to copy you, but I need some time to think here. Although I technically have had an hour and 40 minutes to think of it, but I'm a procrastinator.
so number 5, I was contemplating between the Lions and the Dolphins, but I'm gonna still go Miami. I'm gonna still put Miami at 5. I know they took the loss to a really good Philadelphia team, but and they're taking some losses, but I still feel like they're that good. They're still that good. Their record is still great. And I think the Lions are just right out of my top 5. Just the loss that they had was too bad for me to put them in the top 5 of the week. Number 4, I got San Francisco, 2-game skid. I think they do bounce back and get some dubs going forward, but they got to get back on the right track. Purdy has to start playing well because both of those games were there for the taking. I know they missed a field goal against the Browns, but still, you were going up against PJ Walker at quarterback. You have to outplay him, and even with Kirk Cousins having a great of a game as he had, you had an opportunity to go down and score and win this game in Minnesota. So they need to bounce back and get a win soon. Number 3, I got the Baltimore Ravens. They're just playing at a high level right now. Definitely one of the best, most impressive wins of the season for any team. Uh, Last week against Detroit, a really good team, and Lamar Jackson is definitely right there for the MVP candidate. And just the way he's playing, the way the offense is clicking on all cylinders, they just have to stay consistent, be efficient and consistent. If they're able to do that, I think they probably have the best chance to go up against Kansas City down the road in the playoffs. Number 2, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. Great bounce back win against the Dolphins at home after losing to the Jets. Turnovers still is a thing with Hurts. I think he has like 10 or 11 turnovers right now. He has to clean that up. But again, I like what I've seen from A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard. I really got it going. You know about that front 7, how dominant it is, and their back end. It's a great defense. Bringing in Byard, they're going to continue to be a top 3 team for the rest of the season. And number 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs, 6-game winning streak. Patrick Mahomes had the best game of the season. Kelsey also had the best game of the season as well. They're just head and shoulders above any other team in the AFC right now, and it's just going to be tough to stop them. They're just clicking on all cylinders. They don't believe in Super Bowl hangovers and things of that nature. They're just on another level, man. So they're the best team going into Week 8 in my top 5.
Mine's similar but a little different here. I'm going to leave the Dolphins out, and I'm going to just slide the Lions right on in there. I know that it was kind of on that same little bit path of you. I'll put the Lions there. I know obviously they took a big L to the Ravens, but I just like I like, honestly, I don't know if I like the roster more, but I think I like the strength of schedule more. I went into it before of who the Dolphins have truly beaten, who they've lost to. I think the Lions, obviously they get beat up, but they've been a consistent team. I agree with you with the 49ers at 4. Crazy, because you asked me 2 weeks ago, they were won by a mile. But things constant change in the NFL. 3, I'll go with the Ravens, like you did as well. I mean, hell, you just put the Lions, who were on a 4-game win streak. They looked unbelievable, and you just absolutely destroyed them. Ran them over, backed up, ran them over again. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. See, unbelievable, obviously. The offense this week was definitely more of what I was expecting. Defense hasn't given up, I believe it is 21 points in the game so far. I hope it's true because I've been saying it quite often. So the defense has been playing well. We all know what Mahomes and Kelsey are. They had Rice step up. If he can, continue to do that, that'll be unbelievable for their team. And I'm just going to go with the Eagles with one because I just think that out of, probably still outside of San Francisco, though, they probably have the best roster. I mean, they have the best offensive line in football. To me, it's not even close. They have the best defensive line in football to me. I mean, it's right there with the 49ers and some other teams you can throw up there. But, I mean, you start naming people off that deep. And, I mean, you look at the secondary, too, with Slay and Bradbury. Then you're going to add Byard, and you have Carter, and you have, Reddick. And, listen, you can sit there and name everybody. And then, like we said, outside of Tyreek Hill, it's probably A.J. Brown as the All-Pro. So, I don't know if – I mean – obviously he's better than anybody on the Chiefs on the offensive side outside of Travis Kelsey. And also it's a different position. You can't really compare it in a certain way. Although Kelsey does play like a wide receiver. Hurts with the turnover issues does scare me a little bit. But I think that's something that can get cleaned up. And then honestly, it sounds weird, but the brotherly shove is such an advantage that it puts them in a spot nobody else can really be in. Because like Sirianni said, it's 1st and 9 all the time. And we even saw it in this game. They went for it on 4th and 1 at like their own 25. And listen, I yell at Brandon Staley for it all the time, but he can't do the brotherly shove because you got Hurts who's, squatting 600. Kelsey's a future Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, I mean, the offensive line is just so much better. And I love that they brought in Swift. So I would just have the Eagles one because I think, although the Chiefs, on that 6-game winning streak, I still think that the Eagles roster is better than the Chiefs in key positions as well. Chiefs tackles are kind of, iffy at best. Up the middle, they're pretty solid, but the tackles, struggle a little bit. And then outside of Travis Kelsey, you obviously don't have that, dominant force where Eagles can go with AJ Brown. The run game is unbelievable. And so that would be my list. I got the Lions, I got the 49ers, the Ravens, Chiefs, and then the Eagles. So,
all right. So it's that time when we
predictions.
We get to the prediction. Yes, sir.
CJ, take us home, kid.
I got you.
A beautiful logo.
Thursday night football. Buccaneers versus the Bills. I'm going with Buffalo.
Yeah, Bills need this.
For sure.
Which, no CJ, doubt. By the way, before we continue, one thing real quick that I know we got the NFL too. 6 buys last week. You know how many there are this week, CJ?
I think 1 or 2.
0.
Oh, 0.
What are we doing?
Yeah, the schedule is it's weird. It's weird. It's different. But we got rookie quarterbacks battling. CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young. I'm gonna go with the Texans on the road.
I'm going to agree with you there.
Rams versus the Cowboys. Rams coming off a tough L to the Steelers. Cowboys had a nice bounce back win against the Chargers on Monday Night Football before their bye week. Man. I'm gonna go Dallas. I think they get a couple turnovers on Stafford. It's gonna be a close game. Really good game though.
I'll take the Rams just to disagree. I mean, obviously with Diggs being out, secondary hurt a little bit. You got to go up against Nakua and Cooper.
Yeah.
Tough life.
It's going to be a tough life for sure. Vikings and the Packers, NFC North showdown. I'm going to go with Minnesota. Let's keep it up.
Yeah, I got the Vikings getting back to 500 here.
Saints and the Colts. I'm going to go with New Orleans.
I'm going with them as well, but not with any confidence.
Patriots and the Dolphins. I want to go with my squad, but just the way they've been playing in Miami over these last few years, it's going to be a tough game. Miami coming off a L. I still need to see a little bit more from this New England team. I'm gonna go with Miami.
I don't want to go for my squad here because I'm still hoping for that number 1 overall pick.
It's still there. I'm still there. The Bears got the dub.
I'm a terrible fan, CJ. I'm sorry.
Battle of New York / New Jersey. Jets versus the Giants. I'm gonna go with the Jets.
Yeah, give me the Jets in this one. Better defense, and both offenses are kind of putrid. So take the under. Whatever the under is, it's not low enough.
Facts. You got the Jaguars and the Steelers. Again, this is one of those games where you think the Jags can win. Pittsburgh's defense dominates the Jacksonville's offense. And I'm gonna go with Jacksonville though. I think they've been playing really well. They got some time to rest a little bit. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I think makes more plays and pick it.
I got the Jags as well here. I'll keep that win streak alive.
Got the Falcons and the Titans. Another, battle of the mid.
Did you see what's going on with the Titans right now?
Yeah. Will Levis is going to be the starter for this game with Tannehill being out.
No, not that. That Malik Willis is going to play too.
Yeah, they're doing. Yeah, they're going to combine it. Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
Well, I mean, it's just lack of trust from both guys, so it's kind of just a fill-out process.
College?
It seems like it. But with that being said, I'm going with Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they always say if you got more than one quarterback, you don't have any.
Exactly. Eagles versus the Commanders. They had a really good game a few weeks ago, winning in overtime. Commanders, their offensive line is terrible, man. This is going to get to Sam Howell. I'm going with Philadelphia 7-1.
I got the Eagles as well.
Browns versus the Seahawks. I don't know Deshaun Watson's status as it stands today. He's not going to play. So I'm going to go with Seattle in this game. I just think it's going to be a defensive battle for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I know the Browns defense, they're going to get to Geno Smith, but I think Seahawks defense is going to get to P.J. Walker as well. So I'm going to go with Seattle on that home field.
I'll go with Seattle. That 12th man going to throw P.J. Walker's vibe right off.
Baltimore Ravens versus the Arizona Cardinals. Be more. I got to go with the Ravens, man. They just had a great win. Cardinals, they're just not it.
Give me the Ravens in the Battle of the Birds.
AFC West showdown. These teams just saw each other a week ago. Chiefs and the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs to go on a 7-game win streak.
I absolutely agree with you there.
Bengals and the 49ers. A couple weeks ago, this looked like a really good game on paper. I don't know if Debo's going to play. I'm going to go with Cincinnati in this game.
I think I'm going to go Cincinnati too. You don't know about Debo, don't know about Trent Williams. Now we don't know about Brock Purdy.
Facts, yeah. Sam Darnold's going to be out there. I'm going with the Bengals as well. I agree. Bears versus the Chargers. Again, this just looks like a game that the Chargers can win, but you just never know. I'm gonna go with the Bears. I don't believe in the Chargers.
Wow.
I think their rookie quarterback's gonna come in and make some more plays, and they're gonna run the football all over the Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers because if you lose this one, I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, we're already saying that. And then Monday Night Football, Raiders versus the Lions. I think the Lions get back on track against a very average Raiders team.
Yeah, give me the Lions here. Revenge game, or not revenge, but like bounce back, and I think this is a 15+ point win.
I agree, especially on that home field.
Absolutely. Well, listen up, everybody. That is the end. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. As you can see on the screen, Anthony Conover _ on Twitter. Make sure you follow the Hard Count on Twitter as well at the Hard Count _. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Do everything you can to support the channel. We're working our way up because this is what we love to do. All right. So why don't you support somebody's dream? CJ, what do you got going on?
Yes, sir. CJ versus the World gaming page on YouTube. Subscribe to me on X at CJames9 _ the Hard Count _ MNC Hoops. Just look out for me on these other platforms, man. If you're an NBA fan, subscribe to MMC Hoops, man. We're doing X Spaces. Try to do X Spaces at least a couple times a week covering these games. I think it's going to be one of the best seasons in
How
league
my
history.
Thunder looking this year?
Oh man, they look great. They look great. They look great. Chet, I think Chet is the missing piece, and they just got to get these wins. The West is stacked, so they got to be able to win those close games. But
We talking play in, or are we avoiding that?
I think they could get. I think they could get in the playoffs from the play-in. They could get in the playoff from the play-in. But I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they're 6. They're getting that top 6. I would not be shocked.
I'm hoping we stay out of the play-in, but
they're still a young squad. So we got to see. And again, like I said, the West is so low. But yeah, look out for me there as well on MNC Hoops. Working on my Facebook page for my Patriots page, Forever Patriots. Got some good interactions on that. So if you're on Facebook, man, drop a follow on that. Got like almost 100 followers on my Facebook page. So look out for that as well. Thank you guys.
With all that being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in and listen. Catch you on the next one, all right?
So catch you guys next week.